A warm welcome back to your latest industry recap. We have some aircraft retirement news, aircraft shortages, and an airline collaboration effort set to grow. Why not begin with the feature story, at least in my opinion, and that is Japan Airlines, who will be forced to delay the retirement plans of its established Boeing 777 fleet. They become, therefore, the latest company to battle new aircraft delivery delays that are putting fleet renewal efforts into a bit of a difficult patch. The Japanese carrier was meant to dive headfirst into fleet renewal efforts, with its wide-body fleet expected to be one of the core focal points in the short term. However, those renewal efforts have been tricky, especially with the Airbus A350 fleet, as local reporting, backed by the airline's president, states that things are just out of sync. Japan Airlines is not receiving the aircraft it was expecting on time. While this is less than ideal, it isn't ultimately the end of the world. The airline already has plans in place to try and mitigate any operational impact and believes it will be able to navigate these circumstances. While again far from ideal, it'll be okay. It definitely represents a contrasting view to some other airlines who were impacted on a far more severe degree. The delays centre around the A350-1000. This is a newly delivered aircraft type to the airline and was meant to make a massive difference in terms of its efficiency and have a firm mark on the business by now with its intended purpose to serve long-haul routes with high capacity too. The intended purpose of the -1000 model as well from a fleet renewal standpoint was to help replace the existing Boeing 777 fleet, which is beginning to show signs of age, and JAL believes now is the perfect time to replace this submodel. The company has also selected the Airbus widebody, the high-capacity version, for the future because it will complement existing A350-900s that have been operational for some time and we know operate in a domestic sense for now. That's expected to change, but for now those 350-900s are domestically. Because of the delays and the general uncertainty surrounding delivery timeframes, they will be extending the operational life of their Boeing 777 fleet. For how long, well, that remains to be seen. A lot of studies still need to go into really analysing what the future will look like and when planes will be able to be delivered. Fleet data shows the company has 12 777-300 ERs, with 11 of these active. Interestingly, the average age is 17.8 years. This makes them some of the oldest in the active flying fleet of this aircraft type, and you can see why the airline would want to move them on. The A350-1000 is considered to be a like-for-like replacement for these planes with 12 on order, so it really is not just the perfect replacement, but they're looking at the exact same amount of units, one in, one out. The airline has 8 A350-1000s at this stage, but only 7 are active. The delivery of the 8th one is a little bit complicated, and why do I say this? Well, in terms of when planes are being delivered, it's out of sync in the sense of the next plane on the lot can't be delivered, so the one after will be delivered beforehand. You can see how this kind of messes things up, and this is being reported by Aviation Wire, also backed by various fleet data and aircraft planning. The airline needs to be well prepared to combat this, and Japan Airlines says it feels it is doing this. While the complications can be frustrating, their knock-on effects are not expected to be huge, as more -1000s are delivered, while the 777s can then begin being retired, and the -1000 model will see a broader deployment to more of your in-demand international destinations. Sticking with the idea that planes are being delayed, aircraft shortages are a common theme across the industry. However, those difficulties are expected to continue moving into future years. Major global aircraft lessors, such as Air Lease Corporation, have recently publicly stated that returning to standard available capacity will take much longer than initially expected. Ultimately, the shortages have quickly become a multi-year problem and will likely not smooth out until closer to the end of the decade. This is certainly a harsh reality that we face. Manufacturing delays are part of the problem, and Airbus and Boeing, the two leading plane makers, are just not meeting their targets. Obviously, Boeing dealing with a hell of a lot more than arguably Airbus is at the time, but it doesn't mean it is all smooth sailing for Airbus. They are also seeing delays in delivery for various aircraft programs that they care of as well. These plane makers are tasked with the job of producing new aircraft for airlines and keeping up with the demand rate to the best of their abilities. Unfortunately, that has been incredibly challenging in the last few years, and meeting demand has been next to impossible. And with every delay, the knock-on effect is huge. A plane that might be delayed for delivery now is having an impact, but you've also got to consider the ones in 2026, 2027 and onwards are also being pushed back. This feeling has been confirmed by the executive chairman of the leading global aircraft lessor, Air Lease Corporation, responsible for hundreds of aircraft in the sky today. They play a massive role and to a certain extent can fly under the radar too. The chairman stated that neither Airbus nor Boeing have been able to meet any of their production targets, and the knock-on effect is huge. The key is for Airbus and Boeing to increase their production rates to meet the demand for aircraft. Obviously, this is a challenge, but for one of those plane makers, I won't mention it, I think you probably know which one I'm referring to, it has been next to impossible across the last 12 months. There are therefore many unknowns as to when these increases will actually take place. Airbus and Boeing have their schedules lined up, but will they be able to achieve this? That's another question entirely. Lessors themselves are seeing high demand as airlines scramble to secure aircraft on a short term because they can't get the planes that were destined for the long term. That's not even considering the engine difficulties that are grounding aircraft right around the world. The negative feeling has definitely been felt for airlines, and we've got a great look into companies' views on the matter when they discuss this on a public forum. The lack of availability from plane makers has worsened of late, leading to the need to compensate airlines who feel the financial strain stemming from their expected aircraft not arriving on time. Lufthansa has been among some of the hardest hit in its own rebuilding efforts, which have been derailed by the delays in the acquisition of new, fresh planes. Furthermore, it's been forced to retain some of your older aircraft, and this is just one of the many examples that currently exists. Over to the final story. Finnair has announced that its relationship with American Airlines will extend further, with more destinations to be added to the codeshare arrangement. In January, we'll see 12 more locations right across Mexico added that are already part of the American Airlines operation, and we'll just see conveniently the One World partner of Finnair's airline code attached. Dallas Fort Worth is where all of this will take place. We know that to be a hub for American Airlines. It is a pivotal also gateway for service towards Mexico on each occasion, and Finnair knows it can benefit from adding itself on. For the summer of this year, the Finland-based company is also increasing its services to Dallas with 11 weekly flights, up from the currently daily operation that is taking place this winter schedule. The codeshare arrangements are already on sale, but if you're after the date for when they will actually commence, well, that will be January 23. Certainly exciting. Dallas acts as a hub, like I said, to travel down south, and Mexico is an incredibly popular travel destination. Finnair further adds that customers can access new locations in Mexico with the benefit of traveling their entire route on a Finnair flight number. You're therefore collecting their loyalty points, but also your booking process, baggage process, and more are all going to be massively streamlined. That is the benefit of codeshare arrangements, and it's always exciting to see airlines coming together to really flex their muscles in parts of the world that they may not be able to serve with their own dedicated aircraft. They find ways to do this, and that's through partnerships. Let me know your thoughts on today's aviation news recap down below in the comments. Thank you very much for your support here on the channel. Take care, be safe, and I will indeed see you tomorrow for your latest industry news.